Welcome to the Sticky Microphone Podcast with your host, the most interesting Indian man in the world, J. Dylan Madhav.
We're recording. So, welcome to episode 2 of the Sticky Microphone Podcast with me, your host, J. Dylan Madhav, the one and only. We had such a good episode 1 that I have re-invited my guest from episode 1. You remember him, the infamous Mr. T. We don't say more than that because we don't need to, but there are legal reasons why that's the case. We don't get into that.
Or brown sugar.
Brown sugar. Different strokes for different folks. So, my brother, thanks for coming back. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
We had a great podcast last time.
Yes.
What you got for me this time? What's in store? I'm excited. Let's get these microphones working properly. What's in store? What would you like to talk about? What can we give our audience?
Not the Kardashians. Let's see. What can we give them? Oh, I know what we can give them. It's actually, given the time and everything, this is going to be more interesting than what I have to say today. Is someone just got back from Belize. So, and that someone is this guy right here.
You want to talk about my vacation?
Yes.
Okay, we have to get my dog up here.
And
My chihuahua won't get up on my lap.
There's another one.
Well, so we're going to talk about my vacation?
Yeah, I saw those pictures, especially talk about the pictures.
Well, I did just get back from Belize. I spent 3 nights in Belize. Honestly, I will tell you, that was quite an interesting and amazing vacation, like a once-in-a-lifetime thing.
Okay.
Just in terms of being that memorable. Originally, I was planning to go to Europe, actually, to go to England and then Paris because I'm studying French. So I thought, I'll practice my French in England. I was born in England, so I want to go, blah, blah, blah. So there's a whole reason for that. And then I just have a very difficult time taking a lot of time off from work and from the house because someone has to watch my dogs and someone has to pet sit and something. So 3-4 day trips are doable. 6-10 day 2-week trips become difficult, right? So I said, okay, where is there somewhere closer, meaning like something that's a 4 to 6 hour flight, preferably, that I can go to, as opposed to going 9-10 hours or something like this.
Okay.
So I know someone in Colombia that actually lived here near Plano, so North Dallas.
Okay.
Just decided he was going to, a few years ago, pack up, move his family to Colombia to just raise his children in a different environment, expose them to a different place, a new culture, a new people, a new everything, just to enrich them and help them develop as human beings. So it's like, wow, that's pretty adventurous. So I was going to go to a place called Medellin, Colombia, which most people, when they think Colombia, they think of 2 things, cocaine and they think of Bogota, which is the big city, Bogota.
Is that Medellin?
Medellin, M-E-D, I think M-E-D-E-L-L-I-N, 2 D's or 2, it's one of those 2 D's or 2 L's or something.
That's where Pablo Escobar, I think.
That is where, actually, I found out from the Netflix movie that
Narcos,
that is the which I haven't seen, but you say is very good.
It's good. It's addicting.
It's addicting?
Yeah.
So I got to look into that because
it has crack in it, literally.
Really?
Yeah, it's like a digital crack.
So I researched that city based on the fact that I was going to be traveling there, and I was like, it's not too. It's the second largest city in Colombia, Medellin. But it's more, I think, family oriented and more residential. And there's some things that I thought, I went to Mexico City a couple of months ago, and then Montreal, and I was in New York a few months ago, and I'm kind of getting tired of this big city visits and wanting more small town sort of things. So that person that I was going to go and say hi to in Medellin actually was somewhere else, I think in the U.S., with his family on vacation. So I said, okay, I have to find a plan B here. But again, I'm using my air miles, so it has to fit with my air mile schedule, and it has to be only a certain number of hours of flight, not some whole trip across the Atlantic, and something a little more affordable and this and that. Belize is really interesting in some ways, and also disappointing in some ways. It sounds like you could say that about almost any place, but because it's a very for a tourist, it's a very affordable place. Even the hotels rates are very cheap and reasonable. And even San Juan on the Belize the island, and that's outside of Belize City. It's part of Belize is a place where people visit from all over the world. It's the infamous not San Juan, San Pedro. Sorry, San Juan. I'm thinking of Puerto Rico, but San Pedro. So people go to San Pedro. They know it from the Madonna song mostly. San Pedro, La Isla Bonita, and it is a very beautiful island. And they went to San Pedro, but I also went to Belize City, and there's a lot of poor people there, and they don't make what we make, and they don't have the things that we have. An iPhone. Nobody has an iPhone 6. Nobody has a 60-inch TV. I mean, these are really, really luxuries. What on Instagram they have all the social media. But as far as like consumer goods, they want those things. They know other people, meaning like us, have them. But you're talking about people who may earn like $25 in a day or in a week US dollars. Right? So for them to afford some of those things, given what they make, is just not compatible.
Exactly.
But I went in the sort of what they call off-peak rainy season. So my first night there, it just rained.
Saw the video.
You know how a lot of places are. They have a rainy season. I went out. As soon as I arrived, went for a walk. Pouring rain without my umbrella. I was soaking wet.
Listen, man. For the viewers, forget the rain and all that. Talk about girls.
I'll talk about the girls.
Yeah,
well, Belize. Here's the thing about it. Depends on what you are into. Meaning, what kind of women do you like, and what kind of ethnicities do you like? That's actually an important part.
I don't discriminate.
You don't discriminate, but that's an important part of this discussion because a lot of the people in Belize are black. And interesting, Belize is one of the only countries in that region that has English as the official language. So you for someone who's visiting and only knows English, it's great because you manage only in English. Everyone knows English. Everyone knows English. That's what they speak. That's the official language of Belize. You will get a few people there that do speak Spanish because they've come from some other country or in their household they speak Spanish, but you actually don't hear it that commonly. Okay. So people are very friendly there. In a place definitely like San Pedro, most people's job is in the tourist industry. People coming over. I actually met a couple of guys there who live there now who are American. They retired. They said, fuck Michigan in the winter in Michigan. For them, this is the right choice for them. Not necessarily me or you, but for them. They retired. They left Michigan. They went to San Pedro and said, I can buy a 30,000 lot on the beach facing the Caribbean Ocean, build an $80,000 or less house on that lot, and I can have Caribbean beachfront property and not be living in Michigan and dealing with that rat race and that winter. And that's what they did. And I believe it or not, I met a guy, just random thing. I met a guy who was from Vancouver. This is a young, white guy and his wife, and they live actually in San Pedro in Belize, and they grew up in Vancouver, and I'm from Vancouver, so obviously a bond strikes right away, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing here? And they're like, yeah, these are people that like that beach lifestyle and view. So what I mean by that is low stress, slow pace. Mm-hmm. Every day you're looking at the Caribbean Ocean, palm trees. There's no stress for these guys. Consequently, they drink a lot. When you ask them, what do you do to spend your time? They say, we get together with friends and drink. Like, this is what they do every night. So I'm personally not ready to trade in my lifestyle for that at this point. Because I asked them, well, don't you get bored? I'm thinking back to a few months ago when I was in New York City and in Manhattan. Yeah. Like what a contrast it is, right? Yeah. Everyone in Manhattan is go, rush, I'm on the phone and I'm doing multitasking. Oh, watch taxis, don't get hit. This thing, I gotta get to Rockefeller Center to get the park. Blah, 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 blah. These guys don't think you're sitting there and it's just hearing the ocean. And I saw the lunar eclipse. While I was on the beach in San Pedro, the lunar eclipse, and I was like, staring at the Caribbean Ocean, I thought, wow, this is really, really romantic. And unfortunately, I didn't have someone with me at that time, so it turned out not to be very
Are
romantic.
you sure?
Well, I will tell you
Not
this.
telling us.
I will tell you. Do you want to know the truth?
Yes.
Yo, the
Nothing
truth.
but the truth.
You want the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
So help me God.
Oh yeah.
See, it's a good thing I'm an atheist. So I did actually meet someone who was also vacationing in San Pedro. And so that was at her group of friends, young, attractive, and her group of friends. And we did some partying and drinking and all this fun on the beach and blah, 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 blah. And I spent a couple of days with her. And I was like, wow, this is some random thing that just happened. And we had a really, really good time. And then, when I was coming back, I was like, we have the pictures and the memories, even though it was just 2 days. And, oh, wow, that was so much fun. So I go on Facebook and I go post my picture with her, right, cuddling up there on Facebook.
Yeah.
All right. So you can comment on this in about 2.5 minutes from now, okay? On women in general. I'm going to turn it over to you. But when I got back, she was totally into me. We had great 2 days. When I got back, she saw that Facebook picture, and she sends me a fairly polite message, and she goes, "Can you please remove that picture because it got my husband really pissed off?" So I found out later that she's married and has children. And so what do you think about that?
Man, really?
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, wow.
What do I think about that? Actually, I just saw a movie, just actually kind of covers something like this. It's about a guy who just travels a lot. It's starring George Clooney. He meets this girl. It's like they're both auditors. Auditors, they travel a lot, so they have fun and all that. One day he finds out she's married. So, well.
Because they're traveling and they don't see each other.
Yeah, I mean, you're having fun.
Yeah.
You just have it.
But see, yeah.
Just living on this. I don't know. What do you want to say? This kind of fairy tale life, I guess, and then all of a sudden reality hits you. Well, it's not really reality until you find out the truth. So it's like, oh, okay. So yeah, I mean that's something. Ah man, you really did throw me a curveball over here.
You see, what I thought, we had a great, lovely time, or just.
Yeah, so one of the pictures.
You probably saw several of them in meeting, and I have several more I can show you. But and what she looks like, and the friends, and we really had a good time. I spent a lot of money on alcohol, and that's even considering that they're in Belize prices. But I won't give you, which is $2 Belize dollars to $1 US. So like I said, we had a lot of fun, and I mean, this is something that happens in San Pedro and Belize. I mean, it's kind of memorable and romantic and a once in a lifetime experience, and I think all of those sort of adjectives apply. But yes, when I came back and then she tells me that, sends me that message, it's almost disappointing, but at the same time expected. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is.
So as I get older, I go, well, how should I feel about this? Right? You had a good time and you had this encounter. I mean, that's not all for nothing, but. This is where we can add it to some previous conversation about women and dating in general, because monogamy, when you talk about men and men's problems with monogamy.
Yes, sir.
That's not just a men's problem anymore.
No,
my friend.
I don't know if it ever was, but I'll tell you something. Well, first of all, regarding what you should feel, I think you shouldn't even feel bad or anything. I mean, you had a good time, naturally. And you had a great experience with Belize and with this group of friends, and especially her and her friends. So I think it's a great vacation and a great experience. So yes, it will throw you out a little bit initially, but now as you look back, I think you just had a good time. You
have to look at it for what it is, right? And don't read what is not.
Yeah.
Where you're reading into it what doesn't belong.
Exactly. I mean, there are some things that will question, like you said, we bring up monogamy and all that subject matter. So in that case, yes, it will also, question you about life and marriage and relationships. Well, that's
Yeah.
how marriage is, to some people. If I get married, my wife goes on vacation, and then she comes back home, and I see a picture like that, how would I feel? I don't know how would I feel because I haven't experienced that yet. I mean, of course, the question if she cheated on me or something. But it's natural to feel, all that what that husband is feeling right now. And of course, on her side, again, she's just, I think, one proven point, an example that reality is probably not real. And especially from how we like
Is
bring it
mon-
up
is
because of
monogamy
gender.
is monogamy so for many decades,
Yes.
just at least publicly, people have always, I mean, people as in general society have said
Yes.
monogamy has been an issue for men
Oh, I don't believe
exclusively.
that. Yes, I've heard that, but it's not.
And I'm a very monogamous person, but I'm also single, so I can go and kind of do what my moral compass is okay with allowing me to do. It's just I have with that an experience and other experiences, and it being at this age in my 40s, it makes me think. Well, is there anybody out there who's really honest and upfront and genuine and loyal
Yes.
and so on and so forth? And the answer obviously is yes, but I think it's less than what I previously
Yes.
thought to believe in this sort of fairy tale world that we
Yes.
grew up in and that was taught
And
to us and showed to us in the media and so on and so forth. So it even at my age sends me for a little bit of like a mind fucker where I'm like, which is why I'm asking you the question because I don't really know what to think.
I would even go further. It's even hard to say yes because, I mean, for some time, if I were in your shoes, I'll feel like, I guess, I mean, the answer is, to be honest with you, I'll feel that the answer is no. Because if you think about it, I get it's how some, relationship experts, they describe like the dark side of relationship, and especially marriage. It's like after a couple of years, it just wears off, and you just do
Where the
things
thrill is gone and it gets a little
thrill is
stale
gone,
and
you just
boring
you
and
just-
monotonous and
yeah, you just
routine
have
and
the
so
discipline,
on.
have the relationship discipline,
Right,
carry on.
and
you have kids. Another thing
Right.
I've heard is like to take care of that is
Yes.
more babies.
Right.
I've heard that before, where I've seen some families where they have, let's say, two children, but
Mhm.
it's not going well. They went to some therapists and they're like, "Oh, you guys are well off, and you can add another
Yeah.
children." To be honest with you,
I mean, on the outside, it looks like that, right?
yeah, to me, it's like, holy shit. I mean, is that what it is? I mean, I understand it. I mean, things wear off a little bit here and there in terms of can happen with the relationship, but at the same time, I can stay disciplined. I can be, respectful at the same time. I don't want to cheat. I hate that because knowing myself, it's a big burden to me.
Mhm.
Second of all, that's not my thing, and I'm not just saying it because of the camera, nor, some sort of like, what can I say, just to be a good kid. But it will question like with the world, the environment that I'm surrounded by. This days, today's world.
I'll just
to me is no as of right now.
I'll just put it in a very succinct way, the way I felt, especially in the last few years. I've been divorced, and my ex-wife was a great person. I have nothing bad to say about her. I've been divorced for 6 years now, but I've never cheated on a woman in my life.
Yeah.
Never, not once, because I just don't do it. I don't conduct myself that way, and I know what a betrayal that is here
Yes.
to hurt, and what a pain that causes here. So what a betrayal and hurtful thing that is to do to another human being that I would not do. See, logic tells me this, okay? I know I should not bring logic into this world we live in because it doesn't apply.
Especially.
But I would never, but the logic tells me you should not do that because it'll hurt the person that you love.
Yes.
And why would I hurt the person that I love? I would only do that to someone that I hate and wanted to hurt, like they're my worst enemy.
Yes.
And I don't know anyone like that, and why would I be with them anyways if I had those feelings?
Yeah, exactly.
So now take that guy and you put him in that situation, and it really does honestly I'm not blaming anyone in society. It just makes me like ponder. You've been told men do this and have this problem and can't control themselves. But why are women doing this a lot too? Is one. I mean, this is a two-part question for you. So that's one question, right? Why is it not men, but this? You see this now a lot with women also. To be fair, you see that a lot. And now forget that that's Belize and pretend that that's you're not on vacation, but you're just living in Dallas or North Dallas, and some similar circumstance happens here. Could be anywhere. Could be X city anywhere in the world. Really, in a way, it still goes on, right? Why is that? What is the human psychology or desire or unfulfillment? How can I even describe it? But what?
I mean, that kind of.
What is it? Because I've never been cheated on either, thankfully. Because that would hurt me a lot.
Yes.
That would hurt me a lot. Okay, I'm not going to deny that. But I don't know that. I can put myself. I'm very good at putting myself in the shoes because I'm naturally a very empathetic person. I can put myself in the shoes of someone going through things that I've never firsthand been through, and without having firsthand knowledge, I can feel to the degree that's possible what the hurt and the pain is. But why do people, there's a saying that says you always hurt the ones that you love, which is true. There's truth to that. Why does this get perpetuated? What is the human psychology that drives this? Because now she has to explain to her husband.
Of course. Well, I don't know how she will handle it. I'm sure,
And children.
Especially if she's diplomatic, I guess she will have her way around to explain the whole situation. But kind of going back to your question is, I think that kind of actually asks me, that actually makes me ask a question like, are human beings built for monogamous relationship? Even from the beginning of time, we may not have exact raw data like we have in our data right now. Did only men cheat, or women also involved too? I mean, of course, if men cheat with someone, I'm guessing that's a woman, unless it's a gay relationship. Sure.
Gay men, from what I know, do cheat a lot, and they have a lot of sexual partners, and they like them young.
But in terms of heterosexual,
like men are assumed to.
In terms of heterosexual relationships, that's the if he's cheating with her, that means there's women, and so I'm guessing both are both are capable. First of all.
Okay.
Second is, I think, and it kind of brings back to the biological question: are we capable of? In terms of averaging out, I'm not saying every single human being is not capable of, a monogamous relationship. I'm just saying overall as a society, all around the world, doesn't matter, conservative, liberal, put it all out there. I think overall you find a lot of men and women who are not capable of monogamous relationship, although they are married.
Right.
Okay.
So you're not saying everyone,
not everyone,
but a sizable proportion.
Because another thing I heard of statistics, actually my mother, she does the whole gender studies, she's a sociologist. She brought some data where it's saying I think 46% of the married couples, they have some sort of marriage issues related to, cheating or basically marriage issues with cheating or they're suspecting the husband or the wife.
But is it skewed one way, or is it sort of even, or does it male
I think I'm going to try to find out again.
So this might be surprising.
I'll back as a guest another time. I will give you the.
Well, I know your mother. Your mother is a PhD in sociologist. She has data.
I think she says it's both. It's both.
See?
Because again, let's say these couples, they're heterosexuals.
Mm-hmm.
The guy's cheating.
Okay.
Is cheating with another woman.
Right.
Another common.
Okay.
Oh my God.
But they say that women do cheat, but for a different reason. It's not. I've just heard this. Yeah. I'm just repeating what others have said. Okay. So don't blame me. This is just my repetition of it. But they say men cheat because of the drive for sex, right? Sexual partners. and sexual satisfaction, but women cheat because of the need for sort of more romantic elements, comfort
Yes.
and love and touching and caressing and being made to feel important and special, and more psychological components than just physical.
Can I also tell you something?
Tell me.
Recently, like 2 weeks ago, another study came out. I read that on Yahoo. I know it's Yahoo, but they're citing a study saying women also have another top reason, physical need, just as in terms of cheating or in terms of sexual needs. So I'm not saying just like men. I'm not saying that, but
Right.
it's just a very top.
But maybe since it's been studied formally by academics, they see that it's maybe I don't want to say a gene, but a way of thinking or something in the thought process where they have that too. The way, so it's not isolated to only the male population.
Yes.
That's a misunderstood.
Exactly. And I'm sure women have. I mean, women have more reasons than men. Don't get me wrong. I'm not just saying women.
Reasons or opportunity.
Both.
Or both. Okay.
Both. So that's why I'm like asking myself lately, like, are we built? We mean both men and women built for a monogamous relationship? Maybe some individuals, yes, they are. I mean, they're all over the world. You know, I mean, I've seen a lot of happy couples, and at the same time, I've seen a lot of. Some of them, they look like happy, but inside, when you find out like what's going on, they're actually complete 180 of happy, but the others are just quite visible out there in the public. They're just going through some shit where it kind of makes you not want to get married or.
Yeah, I could see that.
It questions you about life in terms of. In terms of the needs, I think it's both.
It questions you about. It makes you question things, but it also informs you and opens your eyes to things. Maybe, for lack of a better phrase, I'll say maybe whatever, whoever it is, you're more naive when you were younger, and life experience.
Hell, man, adults.
I'm just thinking as I say this to conversations that I've had with people that are in their 20s, particularly, but. Life experiences teaches you particular things about how life and the universe works. Not that we know now how life and the universe works. I think it's just a simple question, but much more complicated than that. But now you see a lot of people who are just choosing to not even get married or not at a young age, given the family or cultural expectations, and maybe not even wanting to have children. So, times are kind of changing like that.
Times are changing. Sometimes it's just the same song, different verse. Just different lines.
But the important question is, who's the band?
Exactly. And then it's just we have more technology right now. We have social media. We have all these outlets where people are doing all this.
What was that dating website that was popular? This swipe left, swipe right. Tinder.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah. Oh Jesus. He says, oh Jesus.
Oh Hare Krishna.
Well, I don't know. I could see how, and again, my relationship experiences have been pretty positive overall with really, really good people that I just, even though the relationship has ended, I feel very thankful and fortunate to have had relationships with those people and to know them. So there isn't anyone I hate or I feel like spite against, but. There are a lot of people that I know that do feel that way because someone has emotionally and physically and financially betrayed them and raked them over the coals, and I always look from the outside and go, the children are the victim of this thing, but the husband and wife are just, fighting this epic battle that's winnable in the sense like no perfect solution as a win-win, in a way, but yet it continues, right, generation after generation.
Another thing to add into what you just said is another thing that can fuck with you is right now these things like all this cheating and all the issues regarding relationships are so visible. Even forget your data, just literally out there in front of you. it fucks with you too in that manner. It's just like, you know how people say you learn from your own experience, but if you're even smarter, you learn from other people's
Yeah.
mistakes and experience.
Right.
So it's so visible. So when you see that, it kind of fucks with you even further. And all you asking me all these questions, at this point, I'm like, I don't know, but at the same time, I'm figuring out that I was, like you said, I was naive. Like in terms of how the relationship should work out, what we were taught.
Right.
Even some of our previous generations, maybe they were more, they were cheating less, they were more faithful. But now, given that we have all this outlet, social medias and all this technology, we're finding out more about our partners, and that's
maybe we're learning more about the human mind and human psychology.
Exactly.
Maybe it's not what we wish we had learned. Like it's not the news we want to learn, but we're learning nonetheless. But I'll just throw out there. See, my parents have been married 52 years, right? And I tell people this a lot because it's just like a very striking thing to say. Hey, my parents have been married for 52 years. They'd be like, well, wow, we should throw them a party and congratulate them and give them some party hats and clap for them. And I'm like, yes, it's quite a milestone. But why is it considered to be such an odd and unusual thing? Why cannot some more couples be married for, be lifetime partners? See, I know me and who I am, so I know that I'm capable of doing that. Yes. If you said, Jay, here's a woman, and I go, oh, we're a good mate, and this and that, and there's this chemistry, and about this factor, that factor, and so on and so forth, and you said, okay, but you have to be with her and faithful and take care of her for the rest of your life. I don't know if that's 10 years or 40 years. I can make a commitment to that because I already know to myself that I have the capability to do it.
Question is it worth making that?
Well, there is that question because it can't be a one-sided thing. Oh, yeah. And one person no relationship is actually 50-50 anyways. Never. Okay? One person is more somehow the taker than the giver, the dominant versus the submissive. Always. Mm-hmm. Okay? I like it 50-50, but someone else likes to be, I make all the decisions and someone else likes to be, I just sit there and be submissive. Different things work for different people and what their needs are and what their expectations are, and, so on and so forth. But that's why as more time goes by, I feel like the hope of finding that first of all, there is no perfect person, right? There is no Superman, there is no Superwoman. Everyone at 22 years old goes, when is my dream so-and-so going to come along for my dream wedding and my 2.5 children with the white picket fence? And I don't want to hurt anyone and burst anyone's bubble, so I just keep my mouth shut. But I see and hear this a lot, and I just go, I wish the best for everyone, but there's a fairy tale and then there's real life.
True.
And they're not always overlapped as like the same path going along. Right?
Real life that's the dark one. Well, figuring out the real life and once you figure a part of it, going with what you had with the fairy tale lives, in your head, like you said, it won't go hand in hand. Not only that, it's just how you now you figure out what the reality is, how you deal with it. That's the
I never used the word reality, and again I do think, and this is not meant to be any kind of a put down in any. Don't take this the wrong way, but I do think the age has a little difference here. Life experience teaches you things in a way that nothing else can teach you. And I'm just of a different age than you are with, I assume, more and different life experiences. So, and again, it's not a put down. It's just saying you're young. I was young once too. You will age and get to places too mentally that you never think you would have gotten to. You'll feel very differently about things, relationships and people and life. What is life? And the universe? What is the universe? I mean, answer that question. Just ask someone, how does life work? How does the universe work? No one who's not really fucking high can give you an answer that makes really any sense. So it's an unanswerable, question to me. It's just too abstract to go. Oh, here's the mathematical formula and how your daily routine, and there you go. So we're just all learning as you go.
Yeah, that is true.
But as you get older, like for going back to your example of your mother and her being older and her personal life experiences,
Oh,
there's things she knows now that she at your age did not know, right?
that's true.
About life, about relationships, about how life works or doesn't work, works against you, or doesn't work for you, however you want to phrase it.
Yeah.
How the universe works, it's an unanswerable question, but it's rhetorical.
It's the biggest mind fuck.
It is. So thank you. So that's the good way. The biggest stressor, in my opinion, for you, me, and everyone else on this planet, it's an experiment, right? The biggest mind fuck is none of us know how does life work and how was it intended to work. Give me a booklet explaining it. Doesn't exist. How does the universe work? Where is it going? How was it intended to work? What was it intended to be? What was it before? There's no booklet. So, in other words, you can ask the most knowledgeable, brilliant people, maybe even your own parents, because they have, validation, right? Because they're your parents. You ask them these questions, and they just kind of make up some fictitious bullshit to shut you up. Or they just kind of go, well, we don't fucking know. So you're back to going, okay, we don't know. We don't know how life works and what the plan for the universe. How does the universe work? We don't know.
Some of them can give you some insights, especially I'll look and go back to my mother. She was married for 23, 24 years, and then after the divorce, the realizations, the period that she had for like the 2 years after about marriage and what it is, looking back. Although at the same time she's recovering, and it takes a while, for someone to recover from that kind of a divorce. Both, sure. I'm sure my dad and my mom, but then they can give you, even not only her, and I've seen divorced couples, both men and women, they have some pretty good insights. Initially, when you listen to them, you won't want to hear that. It will be very depressing, but they're not trying to be depressing. They're trying to basically get you back to, think real and back to reality, like whatever you want to call it. Just be watchful of what are you chasing in terms of a partner or a date, because there are lots of things because now they can in terms of psychologically or from any angle they can look back and realize a lot of things that we can't. You can.
Yeah. You can't because you
especially in a marriage. Yeah. Marriage is a whole other beast than being in let's say a 10-year relationships. Even one of the examples that my mom provided me once. This is a usual case sometimes in a love marriage where a couple dated like 10 or 12 years and then they got married and then they broke up after the third or fourth year. And, marriage is a whole nother beast. So once you go through marriage, you go through divorce, unfortunately, but you have some good insights. And I think it's not a good thing to say. But at the same time, if you find divorced couples, it's a good thing to, listen if they have some relationship advice. Again, you're not going to get all the answers, but there's some good points that they can provide you in terms of what to watch out and what you should do, what they have done, what they didn't tell you what they should have done, because they're.
You look back later on a different.
Very looking at my mother, how insightful she became. I never realized that. I've never seen that side of my mother.
Really.
Or even those divorced couples, both men and women. I'm talking about some of, even some of the couples in my college life. They're divorced after college, and then watching. They're young. They can provide further insights, more relevant to me. What what my mother can provide. That's it, because these couples, they're freshly, they're dating for 5 years and then they got married and then oops. That's not what you thought.
Well, I think
as a young person, especially people who are in their 20s and their 30s.
yeah, they give you advice.
Yeah.
Every life and has a stage to it, with for lack of a better phrase, I think a wisdom and life experience comes with it.
Yeah.
And they're older and they give you some advice, which by the way, they didn't know at your age. They were as naive, for lack of a better word,
listening to
as you. But now they have some information they want to share with you because they think it's wise and the time is right for you to know it. But it might not make sense for you at this time. Your brain will still reject it a little bit and go, no, you're wrong. It doesn't seem that way. It doesn't make sense. It can't work that way. That doesn't seem plausible. But they're going, hey, dude, we've already been through that and seen it through. And I'm telling you, here's how it's going to play out.
Another good one is, that won't happen to me. What he's saying or what she said, that won't happen to me. I don't care. I'm more careful.
That just happens to everyone else, not to me.
That's the common one. But when
that's called living in denial. That's the living in denial state.
And that's, in terms of living in denial, relationship advice from a divorce or, I guess, a very insightful couple, who are going through some crazy madness, let's put it that way. Being in denial, that's the most painful thing, and coming out of denial, that's the most challenging thing as well. It's easy to tell us, hey, let's not be in denial and all that, but coming up from that psychological state, that's a tough one. I've been there. I've told myself, hey, I'm not like that.
And it just keeps going. I mean, for a younger person to say that is at least you're listening to them and you're thinking about it, not just dismissing it as these crazy old people, they don't know any better, these fools.
You do it.
We all do it, but to a degree. But at a certain point, you go, hey, my mother was right, actually. She had some good advice and wisdom that was in there. Always a pleasure, Mr. T, to have you on the show.
Well, before you...
We learned so much from you, but, it would be my pleasure to give you the final words before we say goodbye to our audience.
Keep an eye on this. I'm loving this right here. So, kind of put out some requests to Mr. J if he can. I do like this water.
Just regular water, but it does taste better from this one. But then again, it has my Sticky Microphone podcast logo and my name on it, so I might be biased on that. Interesting Indian man. All right, cheers. Thanks for having me. We'll see you next episode. That was good. God,
Welcome to the Sticky Microphone Podcast with your host, the most interesting Indian man in the world, J. Dylan Madhav.